Hi everyone, welcome to Cash Notes with M. This is a new channel that I'm creating and this is my very first video. I decided that I wanted to document my debt payoff journey as well as my road to retirement. I am 47. I am a Gen Xer. I work in healthcare and I am currently really focused on retiring. I plan on retiring in 10 years when I'm 57. If I could do that before then, that would be great. The goal is to retire from working full-time. And if I work part-time, I'm okay with that, especially if I'm able to just do it for medical benefits, because medical benefits through an employer is significantly better than the marketplace insurance, and just paying out of pocket and all the dealings you have to do. So I do not have a job. That's the gag. And so I definitely am navigating that road while I am unemployed, but I still have goals to reach and I'm still very much focused on paying off the debt and then getting to the point where I need to be. So I'm hoping that you would join me in this journey of mine and kind of let's get into it. So I'm going to go over my full debt overview, or the remaining of my debt that I have for 2026. A lot of my debt I have actually already paid off. When I was working and I had two jobs, I had a full-time job and a part-time job. My part-time job, I was bringing in an additional $800 a month. That is the money that I used to steamroll and pay off the rest of my debt. And I no longer have that job, but if I did, I would have paid off the credit card and then I would have hit my automobile. And then I would have hit my student loan. But let's get into these numbers. So my first debt is Capital One. I owe $1,644.77. My minimum payment is $65, and that varies because a lot of times I actually pay more on my credit card. I don't just pay the minimum, I pay more than that. And so sometimes it's like I only owe $40 a month. But this is the current balance because I ended up paying $120 and the last payment that was due was $65, so I just put $65 here. The interest is 30.49, which is extremely high. I don't really use this credit card. This credit card does have a high balance, but I usually do not. Excuse me, I'm sorry for clearing my throat, but I keep it, fairly low. Although this is not a low balance, but I typically keep it fairly low. The next is nail net. I owe $1,629.66. My minimum payment is $50, and the APR is 6.53. This one, when I was working, my employer had a tuition repayment program where they would contribute $50 a month to your student loan, and so I was paying $100 a month initially. I would pay my $50 and then they would pay theirs, and then that's how we kept the amount was going down pretty quickly. I am in school still, so I decided to pay on my student loan. There's just too much going on right now with the restart and the start of student loans, and with the changing of administration. I wasn't really sure how that was going to work, and I'd rather just go ahead and get a jump start on it. So I've just been paying on my student loan. I know a lot of people's payments are going to start back up, and some of them are substantially high. I didn't want to be in any of that, so I just started making my payments, and I probably would have to pay more than this if I hadn't already been paying. But I've been already paying, so this is what my minimum is. And then I have my automobile. This is the remaining balance, $4,827.20. This is the minimum payment, $566, and then the APR is 8.49. This payment here is the one that gets me the most because, like I said, I'm not working now. I can comfortably pull money out to cover these payments here. I have cash to be able to pull out to spend, so I don't have to use my credit card or my other credit cards that are paid off. And so me taking almost $600 a month out of my savings account to cover this, of course, is bringing it down with me not having anything else going in. So like I said, if and when I start working again, this is going to be one of my priorities to get this down first, especially because this is just to pay off the car. The principal payments have already been made, or the interest payments, I should say, have already been made. It'll just be going directly to the car payoff. The total payoff is $8,101.63. So that's how much left I have to pay off just to get there. What I will say is I should have created a bigger buffer for my car. I had money in there for my car, but that would be for just to cover like the maintenance on my vehicle, tires, if I need to replace that. And I didn't have a substantial one. I know how much it costs to replace the tires on my car. I know how much it costs for my oil changes. So I pretty much just would have a couple months of that covered in there. I really should have had money to cover this in there. And yeah, because it's definitely hitting me. And I know once I start working again, I'm going to definitely build this account up because it needs a buffer. Even long after this is paid off, I need a substantial buffer for this. My car is 6 years old. I think it's at 122 or 130,000, between 122 to 130,000 miles. I can't remember. I take very good care of it and I make sure everything's done, but I definitely want to have a decent buffer account, or just account overall just for it, because it's just important to have for your car. So that's one of the things that I'm going to focus on. I probably will be doing this one and this one simultaneously, getting this down substantially and working on this as well when I definitely start working again, because I want this one gone. I want this one gone. And I just want to say, you know, making sure that you have savings, or making sure, not even just savings, making sure that you tackle and pay off debt makes it so much easier when you face times like this. Because had I not paid off a lot of the other debt that I had, I would be strapped and pulling out of my savings and out of my other accounts to make ends meet. There's been a bit of relief there, a woosah, not saying that, oh, I don't need to worry and I don't need to be actively looking for employment, but more or less saying, hey, okay, I don't have to be frantic because I know that, okay, I have the money to cover this and I have money to pay for that, you know, and even this here. So now I'm going to get into my retirements, because that is on my list as well. So once I tackle my debt, my next thing is my retirement account. And they look pitiful, y'all. That these retirement accounts look pitiful. There was a time that I had, so prior to 2020, my retirement account for a 1K was at 50,000, and then I ended up having to pull it, and I was never able to put the money back in there like that. So I ended up using a portion of it, then using a portion of it again. So I have a Roth IRA, which is $2,303.80. And then I have a rollover Roth IRA, which is $682.12. The Roth IRA and the rollover actually combined when I was working. Okay. But when I left the employer and I needed to move the money out, I had to roll it over. So when I put it in my regular, so I had a portion of it, excuse me, back up. It was all of it was in the employer-based Roth IRA, but then when I left the employer, my brokerage account, they told me that I could not keep a portion of that money combined, and that it needed to be put into a rollover IRA. So that's why that one is there, but initially they were together. And then I have a personal brokerage account that I started when I was trying to just rebuild, and that was just putting $5 in there, 10, 20 sometimes, and then I was able to put $50 a month, which is not a lot, but over time that's what I ended up doing, and that's the amount there. And then I worked for a company for 5 years, and this is the pension amount that I will get when I leave. Yeah, that amount there. I had to be at that company for 10 years in order for me to invest this money. So this money just sits there. I can't do anything with the money. it just is there until I retire. So that's that there. Of course, I want to grow these substantially because they're not that much. My goal is to max out my Roth IRA and my Rover Roth every year. That would be my goal. Definitely is not going to happen by this year. I'm not even going to be able to max out one of them. When I do normally work, how I do it is I haven't been contributing to the employers, my last employer. They did not match. You had to be with the company for 6 months in order for them to match. And then the one prior to that, where I got all this from, they matched. So I am undecided if I'm going to do that or if I'm going to then just put $300 a month on my own into my Roth account and just do that from there. And I know people say, well, that's leaving money on the table. But the way that these employers are set up, you set up your accounts and the next thing you know, you're not at the company. And so I kind of like the fact of being able to just take $300 a month and put it in my Roth IRA on my own and going into my index funds. But that's just me. So this is where I'm currently at with that, with my benefits. So I have a lot of work to do because, as you can see, this is my starting point. And I should have put 2026 here because this is what I have currently. I know it's more than some and less than others. I know some people don't have anything at all. So I'm not talking down on myself because life happens and you still continue to move. But it's definitely not where I want to be. So like I said, my overall goal is to definitely get this paid off. And then I will start to work on and go towards my retirement accounts once I get that paid off. I definitely have some envelopes that I want to, my cash stuffing envelopes I would like to build because they are empty as of now. I also like, I want to get my savings to comfortably. I think for my regular savings, I'm still unsure of where I want it to be. I normally didn't start really putting more money into my brokerage accounts until I hit like 3,000 in my savings. And now looking back at it, I definitely get my savings up more than that and get all my other accounts up more than that. My subdivision accounts, or I guess my cash stuffing account, up before I would contribute more to that. Because the thing is that you don't want to have to pull money, and I can pull money out of, well, there's not much to pull, but if I had to pull money out of my brokerage, I could. I would be penalized if I touch anything in my IRA account. But one of the things I did do was I did purchase this little fun game called Saveopoly. And this one, I believe, saves $5,000. I think this one saves $5,000. So the little game pieces are more. And so I have military in here, and you have all these. They're like 50, and then they jump up to 100. And then you get 150 and 200 and 250, and then so on. So I think that I'm definitely going to utilize this to help with the savings. I want to have X amount on hand, and then I want to have X amount like put away in an account. So I know that now with certain banks, you can't have like all the different buckets. I think Ally is the only one who still does it. I think Capital One, you just have to open up like multiple savings accounts for whatever. So if one for your car, one for your house, one for your travel, etc., etc. But I'm willing to do all that. So like I said, this is just an overview of where I'm at and how I'm starting. And I really hope that you guys will join me on my journey because it's going to get kind of, I feel like it's going to be an adventure. That's just me speaking, because I kind of know me. But it's going to be very interesting to see, and I'm excited and not scared, but more or less excited and anticipating on how things are going to go, because it's just been a whirlwind so far. 2026 is just, yeah, we're halfway through it, but it still seems like it's so much more to go. So again, thank you for joining me at Cash Notes with M. I look forward to seeing you guys. Leave me some comments. Definitely let me know where you're at. If you're, on the same road that I am on, what you're looking forward to seeing as well, how things are working out for you. And I greatly appreciate any feedback that you give. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.